McDonald's purchases about 2 billion eggs a year, which makes up about 4% of all eggs produced in the US every year. Propane is an odorless gas that is intentionally odorized so people are capable of detecting when the gas is present or leaking. The Guano Islands Act enables citizens of the United States to take possession of any uninhabited island in the name of the United States if it contains any guano deposits. In 2013, the Fresno chapter of the Hells Angels biker gang waited in line outside of a Walmart for 5 days in order to buy all of the bicycles inside to donate them to charity. Managers at In-N-Out burger chains can earn an average of $160,000 a year without a college degree. Driving in a car for long periods of time tires you out because your brain keeps your muscles engaged from the small vibrations in the car. This keeps your posture maintained, and the constant working of your muscles is what causes fatigue. As of 2017, 26 states in the United States do not require employers to give rest breaks to their employees. Only 9 states require any rest breaks. California, Colorado, Kentucky, Nevada, Oregon, and Washington require 10-minute breaks for every 4 hours of work. The Apollo 11 spacecraft landed on the moon only 66 years after the Wright brothers' first controlled flight. The glazed donuts at Dunkin' Donuts surprisingly have less calories than the old-fashioned donuts. During a 1969 television screening about the royal family's life, over 30 million people watched the program. When the intermission came, so many people flushed their toilets in England that it caused a water shortage. No one has ever successfully climbed the summit of K2 in the winter, and it remains one of the last great challenges in the mountaineering world. The Appalachian Mountains in the Scottish Highlands are part of the same ancient mountain range called the Central Pangæan Mountains. Tesla is the best-selling car brand in Norway, and 48% of all passenger vehicle sales in the country are pure electric. Loons are incapable of walking because of the positioning of their legs. They will sometimes confuse wet pavement for bodies of water and become stranded because they need a stretch of open water to take flight. The population of Monowi, Nebraska is 1, and the only resident is an 84-year-old woman named Elsie Eiler. Eiler is the clerk, treasurer, librarian, and bartender of the one-woman town. She also pays taxes to herself. Japan has the highest ration of vending machines to people in the world. Since there are 5.5 million vending machines in the country, there is 1 machine for every 23 people. According to the AAA Foundation for Traffic Safety, Americans collectively spent over 70 billion hours behind the wheel of a vehicle for each year. Ball, the company known for the glass jars, also has an aerospace division where they develop spacecrafts and payloads. The company was founded in 1880, and they employ over 17,500 people worldwide. According to SeaWorld, elephants have a keen sense of smell and are capable of smelling water from 12 miles away. Their sense of smell is constantly being used by sweeping their trunks back and forth to detect new scents and information. The smell of cosmic space is similar to what you would smell at a NASCAR race. Fumes, melting metals, and cooked meats are all smells that you could experience floating among the stars. 75% of all early silent films to ever be made are lost, according to a comprehensive study. A big factor in this was the deterioration of the films that were from the years 1912 to 1929. Around 1917, early car tires were originally white, but later had a compound called carbon black added to the rubber, which was a fine manufactured soot. Adding this material greatly increased the tire's wear resistance. Even though the oceans cover around 71% of Earth, they only make up about 0.02% of the planet's landmass. Most elevators ding once when they're going up, and twice if they're going down. NASA has confirmed that Earth is greener than it was 20 years ago, due to increased greening land in China and India. The total area of contact between a train's wheels and the track is slightly larger than one silver dollar. Lions are capable of roaring as loud as 114 decibels because their vocal cords are square-shaped instead of triangle-shaped like most species of animals. During the Amsterdam Olympics of 1928, Australian schooler Bobby Pearce was leading the quarterfinal race when a mother duck and her ducklings crossed in front of him. Pearce actually stopped rowing in order to let them safely cross, but in doing so, one of his competitors passed him and created a 5-length lead. In the final 1,000 meters of the race, Pearce not only passed his competitor, but he secured a 30-second lead when he finished and set a new Games record. If your eyes were as good as a wide field and planetary camera on the Hubble Space Telescope, you would have the ability to read the fine print on a standard newspaper that was over a mile away from you. In August of 2019, astronomers discovered the largest known black hole ever observed. It's at the center of the galaxy called Holmberg 15A and is measured at 40 billion times the mass of our Sun. There are more countries in the list of FIFA members than there are in the United Nations. There are currently 211 FIFA members, while the members of the countries in the United Nations sits at only 193. Just 8 months after purchasing Dominic's, a pizza restaurant, with his brother Tom for $500, James Monahan traded his share to Tom for a Volkswagen Beetle. 38 years later, Tom sold 93% of what's now known as Domino's Pizza for $1 billion. As of 2019, the country with the slowest internet connections in the Southeast Asian region is the Philippines, while nearby Singapore has the second fastest. Iquitos, the capital of the Minas province and Laredo region, is the 6th most populated city in Peru. Despite having a population of nearly 500,000, Iquitos can only be accessed by the river or air. It is the largest city on the planet that cannot be reached by road. During photosynthesis, the process which converts sunlight into energy, plants emit a light called fluorescence. It's invisible to the human eye, but can be picked up by satellites in the Earth's orbit. Studies conducted in 2006 revealed that the Amazon River, which flows from west to east today, used to flow the opposite way in prehistoric times, and for a very brief period actually flowed in both directions. There are somewhere around 25,000 more genes in a dry bowl of cornflakes than in a human being's entire body. Meanwhile, there are actually only 1,700 more genes in a human being than in a body of an earthworm. The Hercules beetle, native to Central and South America, can lift over 100 times its own body weight. Because the Earth is in constant rotation at all times, centrifugal force is created on the planet, which makes the equator thicker and widen out. This means that our planet is not a perfect sphere, like many people believe, but actually more of an ellipsoid. If you factor that part in, the highest point above Earth isn't the peak of Mount Everest, but the peak of Ecuador's Mount Chimborazo. This is because it sits just 1 degree south of the equator. In 2015, archaeologists excavated the ancient Egyptian pyramids and found pots of honey that were dated around 3,000 years old that were still perfectly edible. The ancient Egyptians used honey for a variety of different reasons, such as gifts to their loved ones and as sweetener for foods and drinks. Only 10 people have been named honorary Harlem Globetrotters, and that list includes 2 popes, Pope John Paul II and Pope Francis. Business was so good in the city of San Francisco during the Great Depression that they constructed the Golden Gate Bridge and the Oakland Bay Bridge at the same time. Dipping bread in olive oil and vinegar was originally started in San Francisco, not in Italy. Although sea otters forage for food alone, they form rafts as a group by grabbing onto each other. The largest of these rafts ever seen was one that contained over 2,000 sea otters. Sodium citrate is a secret ingredient to make any cheese into a smooth, creamy nacho cheese sauce. Coincidentally, sodium citrate's chemical formula is nacho. Liberty Island, which is home to the Statue of Liberty in New York, has been constantly patrolled 24 hours a day and 7 days a week by the United States Park Police Marine Unit since September 11, 2001. The maximum power a horse is capable of creating is 15 horsepower. The maximum output of a human is a bit more than a single horsepower. The world's tallest building, Burj Khalifa, is so tall you can ride an elevator and watch the sunset twice. Unlike humans, seagulls are able to drink both fresh water and seawater, as they are capable of separating the salt and excreting it through their nostrils.